Hello everyone, today is going to be another episode of Drunk Philosophy. So what I have today is we have this Smirnoff orange vodka that we're going to try today. By the way, this is for all the new drinkers. Tequila has a very distinct taste when it goes down. This vodka tastes like orange when it goes down. And they have roughly just about the same alcohol content. So this one is 70 proof, so 35%, which is around where tequila lies at 35 to 40%. Whoa, drinking facts. So we're gonna do 3 shots of this before we get started. Let's do it. That's one. I'm Carlos Hidalgo, and this is Phenom Philosophy. Hello everyone. So now that we've let the alcohol sit for a little bit, today we're going to try and address one of the age-old questions in the philosophy of religion, which is how can an omniscient God exist and be compatible with free will? It seems to be the case, or at least on the surface, that if God knows everything, then God knows the future. And if God knows the future, how can that be compatible with my free will? If God already knows what I'm going to do, then how is it the case that I could do otherwise? The philosopher Nelson Pike articulates this dilemma best in his argument for theological fatalism. So first, what is theological fatalism? So theological fatalism is the view that infallible foreknowledge of human acts makes the acts necessary, therefore unfree. So in other words, if God knows that I'm going to take another shot, then it's necessary that I take another shot. Meaning that if I take another shot, it's an unfree act, whether I feel like it's free or not. To illustrate this dilemma, we're going to turn over to Nelson Pike, who uses the example of a man named Jones to illustrate this argument. So first, Jones mows his lawn on Saturday afternoon. So God knew 80 years ago that Jones would mow his lawn. But what are the implications of this scenario? Well, Pike's argument goes like this. 1. God's omniscience means that if Jones mows his lawn on Saturday afternoon, God knew ahead of time that he would do this. But if God knew ahead of time that Jones would mow his lawn, that means Jones can do otherwise if one of the following is true. So the first alternative, Jones could make God's belief false. So the second alternative is Jones can retroactively erase or change God's past belief. Or third, Jones can erase God's past existence. So premise 3 shows A, B, and C are impossible, so Jones cannot refrain from mowing his lawn on Saturday afternoon, therefore Jones is not free. Now, this argument is logically valid, meaning that if the premises are true, then the conclusion must be true. This means that in order to accept the conclusion, we must evaluate the alternatives laid out in premise 2 to see if premise 3 is true. So here are the 3 alternatives. Jones can make God's belief false, Jones can retroactively erase or change God's past belief, or 3, Jones can erase God's past existence. So let's start with the first one. Jones can make God's belief false. So if God is truly omniscient, then all of God's beliefs are true. This would mean that contradictions cannot be true and no one can make a contradiction true. This is also to say that contradictions are not actually true things. Next alternative, Jones can retroactively erase or change God's past belief. Because of how causation works, nobody can go back and change their beliefs at a certain time in the past. Now going on to the third alternative, Jones can erase God's past existence. Again, Based on causation, no one has the ability to go into the past and make it the case that someone had existed in the past that never existed in the past, despite what the Terminator franchise will tell us. So now, through Pike's argument, we've shown that the three alternatives to escape fatalism are not true and therefore impossible. So, we can see that the conclusion of Jones' lack of freedom is therefore impossible as well. Well, that's it for this week. So let me know what you guys think of Pike's argument down in the comments. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe so that way we can expand philosophy to as many people as possible. I'll see y'all next time.